we want to talk about passion project. I'm gonna read what it is. It's an activity or enterprise that you decide to take on, usually in your spare time, in order to gain some benefit for yourself. So if there's one thing we want you guys to leave today with is, sorry, I'm a little excited. Is the inspiration to start your own passion project and to do something you're passionate about. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my passion project I started a while ago. Since I'm a little kid, I always loved astronomy, and also as an adult. And that's actually what I thought I'm going to study before I started studying design. And I always felt like the whole astronomy thing is not for me, because all of the content around it is so filled with long text written by scientists and showing mathematical graphs and stuff like that. And it was really hard for me to relate to it, but I did find astronomy fascinating. So as a passion project, I thought I challenged myself to think what would be the best way for me to read about astronomy and to meet this subject. And as a designer, I started thinking about how I would design data about astronomy and stuff like that. So I came up with an idea for a magazine that I named Celestial, and that's just a mock-up I did. But in general, it was like a period of a month or so that every night I would sit down and think about ideas of content for this magazine. Ideas about astronomy that I'm taking the essence of the story behind it and not showing long text and graphs. I did ended up doing a space blog. The thing about this space blog, the name of it is Stardust, and it was all of the posts were really short and showing really specific images, everything to make the information accessible for everyone. So it was basically a beginner's space guide for children and for newbies and people that are interested in astronomy. And it was so much fun for me to sit down every weekend and write short blogs and deal with it.
So hi, I'm Jonathan, and when I was a kid, I grew up in Belgium, and one night I had this dream that I was interviewing somebody on radio, and my mom was very supportive of every kind of idea that I had, and I woke up and I told her the dream, and I said that I was really interested in doing it, and I was a 13-year-old kid, and she took me to the local radio station and set up a meeting because she thought it was going to be fun. Little did she know that they were going to offer me to do a demo and then finally give me a show. So I ended up having 2 shows in a radio station in Belgium when I was 13 years old, showcasing Israeli music that wasn't really there. And I also found myself calling Israeli record companies and basically telling them there's this radio show, and I was getting singles every month, and I just played them on radio. And I also really loved cooking as a kid. I was a really weird kid, but I really loved to cook, and I was the youngest student in this Belgian cooking class that I took with all the other moms from the embassy. Which was weird again, but it was really fun. And that led me to a really strong passion I had my whole life for food, which led me to basically creating scents later down the line. And when I found out about essential oils, that I have some samples here that I can give you, I just fell in love immediately. And it was so similar to cooking because it's very basic. You can do it in your kitchen, and it's just creating a scent, which is not something I ever thought I could do. And once I started doing that, I just became so passionate about it and fascinated with it that was like basically the only thing I did. And every person that came to our house left with a scent that we made together. So I'm an obsessive person also. And at the same time, I was looking into beard products and grooming products in general that I was looking for, and all the other products for men that were out there were very macho, and I'm not straight, so I don't like women chasing me on the beach. That was kind of not my style, and I wanted to think of something else that could be done. So I basically started with playing around with what kind of brand would we have created if we would have created a grooming brand. And we really wanted it to be gender neutral and classic, but we also wanted it to be local and true to our own DNA. So we didn't want to, I mean, there were a lot of like Israeli brands that are kind of Americanized and like kind of try to bring something that's not true to us. And we were really looking for our own DNA and for what's special in our region and what's special here. And I took a shower, which I tend to take twice a day. And I just thought about this concept of Mapilim. And Mapilim, if you don't know, is basically the first immigrants that came to Israel on boats. They sailed on the Mediterranean and basically started this country. And my grandparents came on Mapilim ships, and my grandfather was an admiral in the Navy. My mother's maiden name is Schiff, which is ship. So we had a lot of family history that's related to the sea, and we have like this nautical family theme. And we just felt that it was really something that we could relate to, and we're also proud of that period of heroism, Israeli heroism. So that's where we started, and then basically started creating a brand.
So we looked at his graphics, and we created the logo based on that. So I actually made the letters based on stamps, Israeli stamps I saw, and also the ship. And when we moved forward and started working on the design, we really wanted to stay away from all of the black brands that looks like fuel or, yeah, or the obvious way to communicate to the man you would have, like everyone expect you to be. So we did this. We wanted to do something very minimal, very timeless and calm. So that's what came up.
And another thing that let's just stand here and not move. And I'm sorry if it's harming the presentation, but we just. So there's this really interesting statistic of the number one killer for men between the ages of 16 to 25 is suicide, and that's due to the fact that boys don't really talk about their feelings as much as girls. And we thought it was a really big thing that we could use Mapilim as a platform to kind of to showcase and to try to change in a way. And the way we wanted to do that was through art, basically. And we immediately, when we started Mapilim, because we had all these passion projects all the time, we thought it could be an amazing platform to support our art projects. We said we're basically going to sell beard oil and use the money to print exhibitions and create a magazine and create a book. And that's how the company started. And so we put up a website and we sold the beard oil that we had. And then we created an exhibition called Flowers Are Manly.
So Flowers Are Manly is it's 12 portraits of men interacting with flowers, basically to show a new aesthetics for men and to show that masculinity isn't really just this one thing.
All hipsters. They're not all hipsters. Just saying. So the exhibition did really well. Over 3,000 people came to see it, and it got shared in hundreds of design and art blogs worldwide. And by the way, the photographer was Liron Herel. He's an amazingly talented photographer. 2 of the photos were taken by Doron. It was all shot at our home. And everybody just volunteered because everybody connected to that message. And that was a really big aha moment for us because we were doing something we really enjoyed doing, and people kind of gravitated towards it. So we saw that we're talking about something that interests a lot of people, and that also led us to research it a bit and to see that male grooming is changing, masculinity is changing all over the world. which changes the whole male grooming market. We saw it's a very fast-growing market. It's it's not common in the beauty space for a market to double itself. And male grooming was a $20 billion industry, and it's due to become a $60 billion industry within the next 2 or 3 years. And that's a very fast growth. And we thought there's actually real potential, and aside from just how much fun we had, there's really real business potential here. But we had no knowledge of the beauty industry, and we really didn't know how to develop these products, which turned out to be an advantage for us because we looked at these things from the consumer's perspective and not from the professional's perspective. So in a way, that was our advantage because usually when people go out to create beauty products, they would have a formula sheet together with a price sheet, and they would price out the ingredients as they create the formulas. And we didn't know how to do that, and we just wanted to create the best products, and we just researched ingredients and found out what we loved and tried a bunch of things. And we were sure that there are consumers out there that will be able to pay what it would cost to use a high-quality product. So the way we started, and I'm going to talk about the business a little bit, but the way we started was completely bootstrapped. We didn't raise any money at the beginning, and we still both worked at Wix at the time. We brought in family. I brought in my sister to help us out. And we basically wanted to start the brand in a way that wasn't financially focused. We didn't want to be focused on sales. We just wanted to be focused on building the best brand that we can. So for the first year of Malpilim, we still kept our jobs, and we just really wanted to make sure that we're building it in a way that's going to be sustainable. We basically raised some money later down the line, and then I quit my job. And the reason we raised money was to launch Malpilim in the U.S. We wanted to see how the products do in the U.S., how the name is accepted there, and does it really have potential. And then that's when we started working on our U.S. website and on our U.S. presence.
So that was also a chance for us to rethink the brand and to see what we can add to it after we learned for then it was the last year and a half. We wanted to bring the Mediterranean vibe to it, to be proud of where we are from, and also to keep very high-end aesthetics and to show wide range. So that's all the unique stuff we wanted to bring to the US. So it's wide range, high-quality products from the Mediterranean.
What's really cool for us is that we're like a two-person creative team at home, and we basically did that over a week at home and worked with a US-based company to build the website. The company was accepted tremendously well in the US. We got reviewed in every big publication that we could ever have dreamed of being published in. We started collaborating with amazing brands like Neiman Marcus and the Four Seasons and Goop in a way. And what was amazing to see is that the male grooming market is growing very fast, and people are looking for high-end products, and they don't have a lot of alternatives. So we were in a really good spot there, and it ended up being hugely successful when we launched. But then we sobered up, and we ran out of money. We had no experience in fundraising. We never did that, and we didn't really plan ahead good enough. The thing is, Doron quit his job 2 months before we ran out of money, and then that was fun. You can imagine that was a really fun period for us. But the reason I'm saying it is because these stories tend to be, amazing and successful and fun. And it's not always like that. Actually, it's never like that. And for us, it ended up being shocking because that was the first time Doron ever didn't work as an employee in a company and was basically an entrepreneur. I had experience doing that before, but as a family, that was a first. So 2 paychecks gone. and we had to sustain for a few months, and that was very difficult and scary. But we held on, and we really believed, because we saw that it's a technical thing. We saw that the brand is accepted well, and there's a lot of potential, but technically we weren't good enough in planning. But then we raised $4 million, which was a pretty amazing success for us. It came just at the right time. But also it enabled us to bring on board the most amazing team of people. Some of them are in this room. And we brought in a new COO from Procter & Gamble to make sure we never ever run out of money again. And just to make sure that we're able to scale as a company. We brought in our CMO that was creative director at Wix in Illinois, and she did Super Bowl campaigns, and then she joined Mapilim to start working with us, which is absolutely amazing. And we also started working with Craft & Bloom on this amazing project that we're going to talk about now. Nope. So, okay, I'll talk about it. So basically, again, this always was meant to be a platform for our passion project. It started as a passion project, but we really try to keep going and keep having passion about doing things. And one of the things we were really passionate about is creating this virtual experience in a physical space. And we've been dreaming about retail for a long time, but for the first time, we're actually working on something. It's going to be a pop-up, so it's going to be for 1 month, but it's going to be in New York, in Olita, in the most amazing street. And we're working together with Craft & Bloom to try to bring, that by the way spoke here last month, and Emma is here. And we're really trying to bring this experience of Mediterranean wellness to the U.S. consumer. And the way we look at it is, there's great products you can use, but aside from just using products, kind of what we felt like doing in our life is taking a step back and calming down a little bit and doing what you love and focusing on your passion. And we're really trying to bring that across with a space that's going to be simulating, or it is inspired by the Greek rooftop gardens, and we're really trying to allow men to walk into the space, see this full range of products that we offer, and relax and calm down a little bit. We're also working on an amazing new initiative with Eyal Delo, who's also here and is joining Mapilim on Sunday, as somebody who's going to be in charge of Sand. And Sand is our content house that we're setting up at this point. And the point is we want to be able to tell the story of new masculinity and wellness and slow living and Mediterranean food. And it's a big story, and it's really hard telling that story just on your website and just through ads. And we're trying to think of longer and bigger formats to be able to tell that story. So one of the things that we're doing is setting up Sand, which is going to be a magazine and a podcast and all of these amazing things. And thank you. But what I wanted to say is that we were really trying to stay as innovative and as creative as possible with our passions, and we really try to maintain that thing with Mapilim, that it's a business, but it's also a platform for art and culture. And we're looking for ideas all the time. We'd be happy to hear any ideas that you guys might have if you think there's something that we can do together. And as Dylan said when we started, we really tried to inspire you in this presentation to go for your passions and do what you believe you'd enjoy doing your whole life. And for us, it's great because we go to work every day just doing something that we love. And we really hope that you'll be able to do that too. But no, it's not always fun, and it's scary. But you have to stick with it and go for it. Thank you.